it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend if you're if you're like me and you don't like Andrew Tate or Jake Paul and you're also a fan of boxing. Okay, well, let me rephrase that. It's not a good weekend if you're a fan of boxing and the only fight you watched was Chase Demore and Andrew Tate, because that wasn't a boxing match. That was like a slap fight with 10-ounce gloves. Absolutely pathetic stuff. But if you're a fan of boxing and you watch Anthony Joshua beat the piss out of Jake Paul, well, it was a good weekend for you. And he did. Jake Paul got his jaw broken in two places. The fight was actually really pathetic. Uh, I got my fell for it again award for this one, because this is only the third time I've watched Jake Paul fight, and this truly is the last time. I don't care who he fights. I don't care if he fights Canelo. I don't care if he fights Alexander Usyk. I don't care who he fights. I will never watch a Jake Paul fight again after this, because first of all, I got to see what I wanted, which is him get knocked the fuck out. But then it was also the fact that it was such a pathetic display. Like, people keep trying to give Jake Paul credit, like he doesn't deserve any. It was an absolutely pathetic display of boxing prowess, because he didn't really show any. He spent 4.5 rounds running away. Like, people getting Anthony Joshua shit because he didn't knock him out in the first or second round. He Jake didn't Jake didn't engage with him at all. Jake just ran away from him. Spent 4.5 rounds running away from him. The only reason why he couldn't run away anymore and halfway through the fifth round was because he was gassed out and there was nowhere left for him to run to. Oh, he had to, so Joshua was able to walk him down and, get the KO. But Jake only landed a few punches. They did no damage. His technique looked like shit. It was his bad technique that got him caught in the first place. He's just not a good boxer. He's not good. I don't care. People keep trying to give him credit. Oh, Jake Paul's actually no, he's not. He's not. Is he good for someone who didn't start training in boxing until he was 25 and has the money and resources that he can just only train in boxing all day, every day? Sure, he's decent for that. But anytime he's gone up against people who actually do it for real, like Tommy, although I was about to say Tommy Fury, although Tommy Fury beat him the first time, today Tommy, especially where Tommy Fury hasn't been fighting and he's been backing out of fights and stuff like that, unless he's been training hard, he would probably lose in a rematch. But but the two times he's lost to guys who actually box professionally for real. Well, again, Tommy Fury at the time actually was boxing professionally for real, but now he's not. Now he's just kind of running away from fights and being a bit of a coward. Yeah, but let's watch some highlights, shall we? Like I said, this was absolutely pathetic. Absolute pathetic shit. If Jake Paul had been silly enough to stand there and try to trade with Joshua the same way Francis Ngannou did, then Jake would have got knocked out sooner, but he didn't. He spent the first few rounds running away.
All 3 of 5 in round 3. Joshua.
Yeah, did you hear that? Okay, so by the time in 3 rounds, he only landed 3 jabs. Jake Paul, that was it. 3 rounds, he only landed 3 jabs because he wasn't throwing punches. Jake Paul's plan in this fight was to survive it. Even if he knew he was going to lose, he knew he was going to lose the fight. There was no scenario where he was going to win. But if he could say, I went 8 3-minute rounds with Anthony Joshua and he couldn't knock me out, if anybody just takes him at his word and doesn't actually watch what happened, they'd be like, oh, well, that's impressive. I'm going to give you a little clap. But no, but if you watch what happened, he just ran away from him the whole time. Just ran away from him and clinched. Oh, and if you saw the thumbnail, he did a bunch of this thing where he would drop to his knees. He kept taking a knee, just dropping to his knees in front of Joshua. It was really pathetic stuff. I was starting to get, by the time we get to the 4th round, I started to get really pissed. Boxing fan, but I just think he's a scumbag. I think he's a genuine, him and his brother both are just genuinely scummy people. But look at that. Over the course of 6 3-minute rounds, Jake Paul only threw 21 punches and landed 9 of them, whereas Joshua threw 75 punches and landed 31. That's not great, but again, Jake Paul spent most of the fight running away from him, and anytime Joshua would manage to close the distance and start to engage, Jake Paul would deliberately drop to his knees so that Joshua couldn't hit him anymore, just so we could eat up the clock. Pathetic stuff. It was actually a really it was good. It was good boxing. Got him that, you know.
And his chin served on a platter.
He, goes high with the hook, jabs to the body. Paul drops his guard, and then Joshua comes in with that right cross. Boom! Put him on his ass. You love to see it. The fact that Jake Paul got his jaw broken in 2 places and didn't go out cold is impressive. I'll give him that. But that's just a genetic gift. That doesn't make him a good boxer, and he's not a good boxer. He's not. He's a shitty boxer in my opinion. He's a shit boxer on top of being a scumbag on top of everything else. And here's the 2 fights. It's funny like I said, the 2 fights where he fought somebody who is still in their prime and actually a person who's been training boxing their entire life properly and not just tomato cans or old, retired, washed up MMA fighters or people who were paid to lose. And yes, fucking sue me, Jake Paul. Sue me. Give me a cease and desist and then send me the lawsuit. You have rigged your fights. This one wasn't rigged. There's a small handful of your fights that weren't rigged. Most of your fights were 100% rigged. Fucking sue me, Jake Paul, you fucking piece of shit. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate got his shit pushed in by Chase Demore.
Oh my goodness. Andrew Tate has just lost to Chase Demore in their 6-round boxing match. And I'm going to break it down, starting in the first round. Andrew finding his jab early.
Now, just like Jake Paul, Andrew Tate has spent years talking mad shit, saying he would beat everybody in the world in a fight, that, he could beat up Jake Paul, that he could beat up Logan Paul, that he could beat up Tommy Fury, that he could beat up, anybody. And when he was in his 20s and he was a kickboxer, he actually did. He was good. Like, you go back and watch a lot of his old kickboxing fights, the ones that are recorded, and he's a decent kickboxer. I mean, 4-time world champion, it's got to count for something. I didn't see that, though. Not at all in this fight. Like, it was not just that he's old and slow and, was fighting a guy who's much younger and a little bit bigger than him. He doesn't see, it's like all the skills that he had from his kickboxing days are gone. People's like, well, kickboxing, boxing are different. So, sure, but you don't forget how to punch. Like, most knockouts in kickboxing come from punches, not kicks.
On, leading the dance against Chase, and I think he edged out this round, but there wasn't really too much going on. And the second round, more of the same, some nice body jabs from Tate.
I'm making, because I sped it up to 1 point.
Of pawing, just putting that lead hand.
1.25, I'm making it seem like faster, like fucking Andrew Tate seemed faster than he really is. He's not very fast.
Out there and putting it near Andrew's face. And yeah, nice little combo here from Tate. Definitely stings him a little. They clinch up.
Now,
and
MMA Weasel covered this fight, and here's the thing. If at 39 years old, Andrew Tate had gone out there and boxed, say, 50-year-old Anderson Silva and got pieced up, that would be more respectable, because Anderson Silva has stayed active since he left MMA. He's done a lot of legacy boxing. He boxed Jake Paul. That was one of the fights I think was rigged, by the way. I think Silva took a dive for the money. But, it's, that's, like I said, that would be more respectable than what we got. Like, Chase Demore cannot fight, okay? Chase Demore is it's not just that he's a shitty boxer. Chase Demore can't box. Chase Demore is actually very, very bad. Like, not just like Jake Paul's bad. Jake Paul at least actually trains. Like, Chase Demore, you could tell he's like, and if he is training, he's not taking the training very seriously because he's sloppy. He has no technique. He has no footwork. Like, look, I could beat up Chase Demore, all right? And I'm fucking only a little bit younger than Andrew Tate, and I feel like I could probably beat up Chase Demore. Not in a boxing ring. Pure boxing, he probably would, get some punches in on me, but I'm saying, like, I could jiu-jitsu him at the very least. Now, that's probably bullshit, too. He is much larger and fitter than I am, so he probably would beat me there, too. But the point is that I'm making, exaggeration of jokes aside, that Chase Demore is not a good fighter. He's not. Now, again, I was saying that, I think Jake Paul could beat Tommy Fury. The Jake Paul of today could probably beat Tommy Fury. I think Tommy Fury could beat the shit out of both these guys. Tommy Fury's not a very good boxer either.
Round 3, where the fight starts to take a completely different turn. Andrew Tate, mouth open, breathing heavy, is starting to gas out, and Chase is wearing on him. That's right, Andrew has been ripping way too many darts, way too many gars, and halfway through this fight, and he looks done.
Runs into a shot from Tate. Still unable to connect, Ben. You know, Chase is getting too tall and trying to load up to the head. He needs to go the body shots. Still a close round.
And into round 4 now, things are getting even worse for Andrew. His head's down, he's just trying to clinch, and Chase is coming at him, throwing up these silly little punches, and they're not really landing with damage, but he's all over him, and he's full of energy.
Demore, nice connection inside. Chase Demore, ending the fourth with some fury.
And round 5 now, Tate's a zombie, and he's just got nothing for
Yeah,
Chase.
see?
This is worse than the Jake Paul fight last night, in my opinion. And Chase keeps getting him up against the ropes, having complete control over him, and just throwing these little arm punches rather than making some space and really teeing off on Andrew. Yeah, super annoying to watch.
See, look how bad this is.
Pounded away.
Andrew returning nothing. Body.
Now his face is all bloody,
And let's go to the 6th and final round. Andrew Tate in survival mode, and Chase Demore about to get the biggest win of his career by far. Walks Andrew down the whole round, no problem. Even gets a clean shot off and cuts Andrew around his eye.
Goes to the right. Tate somehow still here. Another shot from Demore. And if Tate had his hand, one shot of Chase Demore and kind of sliding off to the side and looking to land the counter. I thought Chase would have a little more control around. 10 seconds. Chase Demore. Boom. Bringing it to the top G.
Now, this fight didn't end with a knockout. It went to a decision, and Chase Demore was given the majority decision. So, essentially, 2 of the judges said that Chase Demore won the fight, and then the 3rd judge said that it was a draw. So, yeah, he got the majority decision. But the point is that both of these guys were, I think, effectively exposed. Jake Paul is a shitty boxer. Especially when he's going up against real boxers. And Andrew Tate is just not at all the fighter he claimed that he was. Like, maybe if he was still in his 20s and, maybe he would have pieced this guy up. But, like, you don't, like, completely lose your skills. And Tate has posted videos of him sparring and fighting guys, so he constantly talks about how he's still training, and yet, but he didn't see any of that. It's not just that he gassed out, it's that he sucks at throwing punches. Like, I don't know, like, I'm over the influencer boxing thing. I was never really super into it. I just hate Jake Paul and kept hoping that somebody would finally fuck him up, and finally somebody did. So I'm never going to watch another Jake Paul fight again. And then Andrew Tate, well, I just think it's funny that he got embarrassed. Then he got fucking humiliated on the world stage in front of everybody. Top G is not at all the guy he claims that he is. He's a fucking fraud. I used to defend him. You could find clips of me saying good things about him, but I've learned the truth. I've seen the stuff that was said in the Hustlers University leaks. I know what the shit he said behind the scenes. Yes, that blonde European girl he was beating with a belt in the video. Yeah, she was underage. I don't care she was within the age of consent in Romania or the UK or Slovakia or wherever the fuck they were. He's a scumbag, and now not only is he a scumbag, but he's also a loser. And couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But yeah, do all the algorithm stuff for me, like the video and comment, and then sub to the channel and hit that bell and do all that stuff and follow me on X and do all the good stuff, and then throw me a left hook.